Early morning in Piazza Market, one of the busiest markets in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. The produce here comes from across the country, and it all ends up in this one market. Unloading, bargaining, delivering. Every day, between 5 and 9, thousands of people participate in making sure the produce they handle will eventually reach the final consumer. Brokers who sell to retailers, who sell to consumers. A long chain of intermediaries, each one an important part of the procurement process for these vegetables and fruit from the field to the fork.
ለምሳሌ በአንድ መኪና ማለት ነው ሰንሰለቱ ስትወስደው እስከ 70 ሰው ነው የሚስተዳደርበት 70 ሰው እንዴት እስከከፋፍለው እዛው ቆፋር የሚባሉ አሉ እዛ ሲያዘጋጁ ቆፋር የሚባሉ አሉ እነሱ ወደ 15 ናቸው ደሞ ሰፊዎች አሉ ወደ መኪና የሚጭኑት እነሱ 6 ናቸው ሹፌር ረዳት አለ ከዛ ደሞ እዚህ አምጥቶ እዚህ ደሞ 4 አራጋፊዎች አሉ 4 አራጋፊ ያራግፋሉ ገና ጻፊ አለ ብራያጅ አለ አሻሻጭ አለ
A source of employment for many people, but here, intermediaries and buyers face the same issue, fluctuations of prices. Price volatility is a major obstacle in the trade business of staple crops, with impacts all along the chain. Price fluctuation may be a minor problem for buyers, but it can be a bad omen for the producers, the farmers. And there is one main reason: Ethiopia's volatile climate. Rain. Eventually, it's come. To moisten the dry lands of the central Rift Valley, south of Addis Ababa. Haley has been waiting for it for a long time. He produces maize here, in a region which is soaked during the rainy season, but is particularly harsh in the dry season, which can last for about 9 months. Enough time to jeopardize his entire crop.
akka bara dabreetti barana roobuu danda'u yeroo fakkeenyaaf jijjiirama waqtiileetiin roobni fakkeenyaaf yeroo dabre yeroo kana amma mi'aan gara gaysati bara dabre amma immoo barana duubatti nu jalaa butee jira roobni haalli qilleensaa hin faffaalla.
This is a local market in the central Rift Valley. It is structurally fragmented, comprising of small farmers selling their crop.
The traditional market in Ethiopia is relatively less organized, and which is dominated by smallholder farmers, which is known in subsistence farming. As usual, smallholder farmers in Ethiopia produce for their own consumption, but whenever there is a small surplus, they bring their produce to the regional markets or usually open markets.
Open markets are completely unregulated. In Ethiopia, the government does not intervene in the trade of staple crops.
The government has not set any fixed price for the inputs or for any food items. It is a free market.
But is it really a free market if the players don't have the same constraints and don't abide by the same rules? For farmers, the answer is no.
homtuu hin jiru karaa saniin ala wanta argitu hin jiru wal argitu hin jiru. Atiin maasaa qofa wal argitaa hin hojjetta waan hojjette san immoo dallaalaa fi kan bitu san bitaa san kan wal siquunnamsiisu dallaala jechuudha. Malee ofii keetti hojjechuu maasaatti malee maatti beekta. Jechuun gabaa dhifaa hin jiru gabaan bilisaa jechuudha. Iftoomni hin jiru jechuudha. Keessatti kan fayyadamu asitti eenyu warra fayyadamu warra jara kana qotee bulaa fi daldalaa wal quunnamsiistu fayyadama malee inni qotee bulaa sun akka caarraatti oomishni sun xiqqaatti fayyadama malee oomishni baatee namatti fayyadamu hin jiru.
Aduu isheen namni yaadasa.
In some pocket areas, particularly farmers are being extremely exploited by traders who have better access to the market information and better access to finance.
In these rural areas, it makes all the difference.
Karaa oduu jiraate dorgommiin hin jiraata. Maaliifin karaan oduu seenee as dhufuu achittan fe'a maasatti kunuu jijjiirama tokko. Baasiin harree fi wantoota adda addaatti saaxinii asitti kaffalee bidu kun achitti narraa irratti ture oduu karaan jiraate. Achi seenee bitagaa daldalaanis jechuudha. Karaa jira waan ta'eef.
Public authorities do not repair roads, so there's only one solution: increasing the private sector's role. If the business is made profitable, agents will have a reason to invest. In the long run, infrastructure will get better. But it's not time for that yet, at least not in rural Ethiopia. It's a completely different story in Malawi. Unlike in Ethiopia, the government here sets a minimum price for staple crops.
The farmers are being cheated by those who are buying crops. So therefore, how can we help? So we must fix a minimum price at least for that kind of crop. We are doing this to protect the smallholder farmer. He must know what the minimum is. At least he should know so that he doesn't sell it below, he doesn't sell at a loss below the minimum cost.
Earlier, state intervention went even further. Small farmers used to sell their entire yield to a parastatal organization, ADMARC. Through deregulation, the whole system was dismantled. Farmers were left at the mercy of intermediaries.
The thinking when this restructuring was taking place was that ADMAC was more or less like clouding out the private traders in accessing rural markets. But of course, when these rural markets more or less like collapsed, the traders were not able to fill that gap. There were no roads to get those markets. So the transaction cost and the transportation cost for the traders to get those markets was very high. So this prevented most of those traders to go to those remote areas. Now, the only way that or the only link that was there between the farmers, the smallholder farmers, and the traders were the middlemen who were able to go and buy a few bags and resell them to the traders in town. But now the challenge which was there was that the issue of pricing and all those, right? Because these middlemen also wanted to make some form of profit. And at the end of the day, it was the smallholder farmers who were being disadvantaged.
In the 90s and the early 2000s, Malawi faced several food crises. Local agriculture could not feed the whole population, and the sector was highly unproductive. They were sold to farmers for a minimal fee of 500 kwachas, less than $2. With this coupon, through dozens of warehouses in the country, farmers would get a 50-kilo bag of fertilizer. That led to an immediate boost in production.
inkori ndimanguva ziyo ndijeko kumene pali pakati panopa koma kuti ndigulitsako pachimene chili ndakolola chikunyumbacho khazi kuti mwene ndikudyako kwa miyezi imene ikubwerayi koma ichi ndilagulitsa ndilakolola ndimene chikunyumba mwene ndikutsa kuti ndithandize mavuto ya ana anga pakhomo panga ndinaona kwakusintha pamene ndinayamba kugulitsa ntchito fertilizer panopala mbuzi 5 ndinagula zili nkhola.
After you have your food secure, then you start diversifying into income generation. And that's what actually has been happening. To say, yes, the Farm Input Subsidy Program is a food security program, but you'll find that it has had an impact even on markets, because people, smallholder farmers have been able to produce more than they require. And so we are taking advantage of that the extra produce, they can use it to market and have an income for their household.
In Ethiopia, the government has not helped promote the use of fertilizers. Farmers still stick to their traditional methods of farming.
Farmers are supposed to buy all the importers by their own money. The quality of the seeds, particularly produced in the local, is not as productive as expected. But the quality of the seeds imported from the other countries, like from Europe, it is relatively better, but so much expensive. So farmers cannot afford unless they are commercial scale farmers.
Government of Ethiopia has adopted another method in order to increase productivity through innovation, bringing science to smallholder farmers.
Today we have around 62 research centers in our country, and we have around 1,500 researchers. These research institutions are producing technology. So they produce the technology, they approve, and they release for the farmers.
At Melkasa Research Station, one of the 14 government-run agricultural outposts, scientists are working hard to increase farmers' yields. The main goal is to make technology available to farmers at cheap prices.
These farmers, when they use our technology, for example, the improved version of our variety, they can triple or double their product, their harvest. In that case, part of the harvest can be used for the household consumption, and a part of the product can be supplied to the local market or export market.
In Melkasa, various processes are used. Crossbreeding selection is one of them. Another common technique is grafting. It happens here in this greenhouse.
If you don't graft, if you begin from the seed, it will take you 5 to 10 years, okay, to get the yield. If you graft, that means you shorten its juvenile character, early growth time, okay? The farmers, by just this time, they don't have improved cultivars, okay, in hand, in the farmer's field. So if we deliver them just improved cultivars, just through our just mechanism or systems, so the yield of the farmers may just boost, okay, increase. So even nutritionally, they improve their diet, okay? Also they generate income.
In Malawi, the most spectacular achievement of the Input Subsidies program has been an increase in trading. It is visible at markets such as this one in Mitundu town, 50 kilometers from capital Lilongwe. Maize is all over the place. Trading activity has seen a significant boost. Agents now consider trading staple crop a profitable activity, a complete change of mindset.
chinandipangisa njokuti naona azanga kuti akumagulisa kwambiri nde nanenso ndinoona ndinayamba business imeneyo. Chimanga ndagula 3.5 mene ndagula chimanga 3.5 ndekuti ndikapita kokagulisa ineyo ndekuti ndikagulisa 6.5 kapena 7,000. Ndekuti ndimatha kupeza 2,000 kapena iye kupitirira pa 2,000 amene amaoda matumba 30 chakuti achimanga ndili malakalaka nane kusogoloko ndizafikaso size ngati ili imene asi pano ine ndimatenga matumba ochepa awiri.
Though efficient in reducing market margins, the coupon system has its flaws, according to farmers.
alandira makoponi 5 timagawana makoponi imodzi and 4 koponi imodzi mwina anthu awiri ndimene zimakhalira koma koponi imeneyo mwina anthu amaputapota kugulitsa koponiyo usoka kakagula fertilizer.
Not enough coupons. Here, the government has to make a choice in targeting the right people.
We subsidize the very poorest of the farmers, not everybody, the very poorest. For example, if we have assessed the number of the poor farmers who need assistance would be about 4 million. But we have decided that we can, according to our own resources, we have decided that we only provide inputs to 1.5 million farm families.
Through the input subsidy program, farmers have been enticed to produce the crops that were subsidized, creating a high dependency on crops like maize. In the case of bad harvests, risks are very high for them. Promoting alternative crops is NASFAM's mission, an association that helps smallholder farmers in diversifying through training. Navlesi has followed this advice. Before, she used to grow maize only. In her plot now, she cultivates groundnuts and even bananas.
Osiyanitsa kwake ndikotere mmene nimalima mbewu mwina imodzi pachaka nimaona mavuto osiyanasiyana chifukwa chonena kuti nikalima foja akangolephera foja uja kumunda chakudya chimakhala choperewera pa nyumba komano pamene numalima mbewu zosiyanasiyana numakhala chakudya chokwanira pa khomo komanso numaona kuti numatha kugulitsako mbewu ina nkupeza koso ndalama.
To grow bigger, the main barrier for smallholder farmers is access to credit. The Prime Minister of Malawi has been campaigning for more funds for agriculture. It can come from international donors, but there is a need to tackle the issue within the country as well. If farmers don't have access to bank loans, they simply cannot expand.
The risks associated with agriculture are very high, and so banks are nervous to invest into production. So you rather see, you actually see banks lending to secondary industry, so like the buyers that can buy produce, but they don't invest in the production.
The only way farmers can get better access to credit is by collecting themselves into cooperatives. This one, not far from Lilongwe, sells maize seed. Previously, Anne was an isolated farmer. Now being part of a cooperative, her relation with the creditors has completely changed. She can get money easily.
You pay back after growing. So when you start selling, the sales, they deduct your money from the sales that you realize. So that is the surety that they have when they would like to give us the credit, because they know when after growing, I will sell.
The cooperative is an answer to the predicament of small individual farmers, but making it work cannot be taken for granted.
To bring together farmers into cooperatives is not easy, because all along farmers have been cultivating as individuals, and now you have to shift their mindset. So now, if you are going to access markets as smallholder farmers, you need to come together and cooperate in cooperatives, so that you can, one, aggregate your produce, so that when you aggregate, you can enjoy economies of scale and target a particular market, but also that enhances your negotiation capacity, negotiate better prices with the market.
Asimaki body tandiza Tikutokoza asimaki body tukula Tikutokoza asimaki body tukula Tikutokoza asimaki body tandiza Tikutokoza asimaki Hamala watukuka Tikutokoza asimaki body tandiza Tikutokoza asimaki